Oh.
You know what, Ms. Hernandez, actually, you know what, yeah, I did believe that. I swore you in again with,
Yes.
along with the 4 or 5 other folks that were with you, that's right. Have a
Yes,
seat.
you did. Okay, everyone, be strong. You could do this, Angelica. You got this. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You can just move the mic up. Could you please state your name for the record?
Angelica Hernandez.
And what is your relationship to Grizelda Hernandez?
She's my sister.
And what is your relationship to Dominic Hernandez?
He's my nephew.
Without giving me the address here in Laredo, did you all grow up together?
Yes, we did.
Okay, what's the age difference between you and your sister?
She's 9 years younger than me.
Okay. Your home, your childhood home, is it located on the west side of Laredo?
Yes, we grew up off of Mines Road, off of the first subdivision that was built in Mines Road.
And is that near Father McNaboe Park?
Yes, it's about half a mile from there or less of that.
Okay. Did you all visit Father McNaboe Park as children?
Yes, we did. We grew up at that park. All of us did, all my brothers and sisters.
Going back to growing up, what type of relationship did you have with your sister?
A good relationship. I was a big sister, so I want to think I was, in some sort of way, mentor to her. I would help my mom a lot with being the oldest. I would help my mom a lot with my brothers and sisters, especially my sister.
What kind of things would you all do for fun growing up?
Growing up, I remember I wasn't much of a doll player, but I do remember riding our bikes together, braiding her hair, taking care of her whenever we'd go out on family outings or just outside the house playing or at the park.
What type of personality, did Grizelda have growing up?
I feel she was, she was my sister. She was always happy. She was the more hyper one, I think, of my brothers and sisters. She was always my dad's favorite.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 brothers. They're both younger than me, and only one sister.
Okay. She was your only sister.
Yes.
Oh, shame.
Let's talk about the pregnancy that your sister had. When did you find out she was pregnant with Dominic?
I don't recall the month in particular. I do know it was after I had made my pregnancy announcement. We were pregnant together.
And did she ever tell you who the father was?
She did not mention his name. She showed me a picture of him.
Did you come to find out his first name?
After the baby was born, I found out his name.
And what name was that?
Anthony.
Was it just one name or his last name?
In the beginning, I only knew him as Anthony. As time went by, I knew his last name.
Okay. Did you know if he was being helpful or supportive of her pregnancy?
No, when my sister told me about her pregnancy and me and her spoke more privately, she did mention that she was going through with the pregnancy on her own, that the baby's father did not want to have anything to do with it. What she expressed was that he didn't want to move forward with the pregnancy, so she was doing it on her own. And that is how she presented it when she announced it to my family at the dinner table.
When you say he didn't want to move forward with the pregnancy, what did that mean?
She told me he had suggested that they terminate the pregnancy.
That she have an abortion?
That's correct.
And she decided against it.
We were raised Catholic by religion, and none of us believe in abortions.
Tell me about the day that Dominic was born. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I was with my sister in the operating room. She had a C-section. I remember hearing him cry when he was born. I remember feeding him his first bottle after the nursery released him to the room for my sister. She didn't wake up right after. My sister was allergic to morphine, so they had to use other medications to put her to sleep for pain control during her delivery. So she was very drowsy afterwards. I was waiting in the room when she came to the room and when they brought the baby. So I held him in my arms and gave him his first bottle.
Was he a big baby?
Yes, he was. He had chubby little cheeks, rosy cheeks.
And how was Dominic as a baby?
I think he was beautiful. He had the hugest lips I've ever seen. He had very, very full lips. He is a very, very good baby. Soon after 10 days, I had my baby. And I say good baby because I tend to get all the criers in the family.
Mm. And he was not a crybaby?
No, he wasn't. He was always very, very calm, he was a good baby, an amazing baby.
What role did she play in Dominic's life?
Well, as an aunt, I want to say I was very, very supportive of my sister. I think we all tried to be in our family. I would care for Dominic as he was getting older. Whenever my sister was going to school, she had classes, she needed to be elsewhere, I would watch over my nephews, both of them. And the same with me, whenever I had to go to work, she would try to take care of my children when I wasn't available for him. So you could say that we, in a way, raised each other's children.
How old would your sister be today if she were still alive?
I feel I could calculate how old she would be, but to me, she's always 27.
Why do you say that?
I can't see her aging over 27. That's where time stopped. That's where time is frozen for her, and like I said, I could calculate if I were to give you an age she'd be, but she's 27 in my heart. And
what about Dominic? How old would he be today?
He would be 6. He would be turning 7, just like my son, July 26.
And what grade is your son in now?
He's going to 2nd grade.
Were they close? Your son and Dominic?
Yes, they were very close. They were very close. You could find him in my house fighting for Dominic's favorite basketball, or pushing each other, running down the hallway, fighting for sippy cups.
Dominic was an active baby.
Yes, he was.
What do you miss the most about your sister?
Her laugh. I miss her laugh. I miss her telling me that everything's gonna be okay. I miss her coming over to my house. I miss her cooking with me in the kitchen. I miss what most of us get to share with their siblings. We'd plan our children's birthday parties. We'd plan our outings together. I miss her very much.
What were her dreams? Her ambitions?
She was looking to eventually leave Laredo. She wanted to move to San Antonio after getting her nursing degree. She, as many of us, all of us have our struggles, and she wasn't one to just roll over and let time pass by or have somebody, come and pick her up. She always did her best to resolve any problems that were set in front of her. She was very self-driven, so I feel, her dreams, she would have met every single one of her dreams if she would have been given the opportunity.
What did she want to become?
She wanted to be a nurse.
Like you?
Yes.
Dominic was about 18 months old, right, when he died?
That's correct.
Do you remember what kind of toys he'd like to play with? Was he a active little boy?
Yes, he had, at my mom's house, he had these favorite little tiny yellow balls that he used to like hiding them from my mom, and having her find him whenever she was sweeping or cleaning, and she'd find him in all odd places, cabinets, under the sofas, anywhere. In my house, he enjoyed playing with the orange basketball that him and Tristan would always fight over. And any little games that they had that they could, tactile toys that they could press and they would make sounds. They loved playing with things like that.
So you like playing with balls, footballs,
Yes.
baseballs?
Yes, and they'd fight over this little tyke toy that you could get on top of and ride.
So he liked cars?
Yes, he did.
What about little tractor toys?
He did also play with little push carts, but more than anything, it was things he could ride on or balls he can chase after. They were both very active.
Did you like trains?
Yes, he liked trains. I think he had a favorite train at my mom's house also.
Would you take a lot of pictures with him?
Yes, I would. With both of them, him and Tristan, because my little boy would always get jealous whenever I would carry Dominic.
Can I approach you with this one? Yes. I'll show you what's been marked as State School of 537, 538. recognize these photos?
That's right, Maureen. Love never dies. Oh, shame.
Yes.
It's tender than the council. To offer 537, 538.
I'm sorry.
I'll move to offer 537. 530.
Judge. Sorry, those numbers were used last week and they were sustained.
These?
Yeah. 536 through 540 got sustained.
We, sorry, did we use those numbers up, or? were
Yeah,
these-
those numbers were already used.
All those numbers were used, okay? Well, I could renumber them. That's probably the problem. But, so I'll
Thank
continue
you.
with.
Thank you, Cindy. It really is heartbreaking.
So, I guess if you haven't used 548,
We've already used this, 550.
550, that's the problem.
Just go let's drop this.
The two of them?
Yes, sir.
550 and 550, you know. They're admitted without charge.
Motion to publish.
Yes, sir.
So I have this picture up here. Do you remember this occasion?
Yes.
Can you tell us what's going on?
Yes, we were at my sister-in-law's announcement. I believe it was at Rudy's. She was announcing her pregnancy, and that's me and baby Dominic.
I'll show you 551. Who's in this picture?
That's myself and Dominic and Tristan.
Also, would you video different milestones in Dominic's life, different events?
Yes.
When he was walking around and healthy?
Yes.
And what about, how many birthdays did Dominic celebrate?
1.
And were you able to video some of his celebration?
Yes.
And what about verbal? Was he verbal? What are some of the words he was able to say at 18 months?
He would say hi, hi mama. He would call my mom mama, and hello, goodbye, go, stop, stay here. He would tell my sister whenever she wanted to leave, stay here, when she was leaving the room or leaving him to come to the kitchen with me. No, he whenever you would tell him not to do something, he would just scream at you, no, no mama, or no, stop, or no, you, things like that. I feel he spoke a lot sooner than my son, even though they're just 10 days apart. He was more verbal than Tristan.
If I may approach you. I'm going to show you what Mark has dates exhibit 548, 549, and 539. Is that good news? Another number.
Look at the picture, you guys, from his only birthday. Thank you, Rochelle.
I was saying 548 and 549,
He's looking cold as usual.
and then what would be This one. 550.
Is Eduardo napping?
550 and 551.
I could call it 552.
Eduardo is getting tired. He's napping.
Okay. I'm gonna show you now these USBs. That's how you've seen these.
Yes, Angela. Oh, we want to see
Familiar
video.
Yes.
with exhibits 552, 549, 548.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And do they accurately depict the video that you've seen?
Yes, that's correct.
And these are events that you would have videoed?
That's correct.
Coach, please.
Yep, I think we're gonna see video from Dominic's one and only birthday. We've got that picture that's up there that I've shown you before. Oh my word. Shame. He only had one birthday, and he would have turned 7 on July 26th, which is, so coming up July 26th, he would have turned 7. Oh my word. Lilac Peach said, I would be screaming, look at me, look at your son. I hear you, Lilac Peach. I don't know if that has any impact on someone like Burgos, right? Elf says, power nap, Eduardo. He does have power naps. Yes. Alpha She will say DA is doing an amazing job. Definitely. I also, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know exactly how this works, but I don't think this is Angelica's victim impact statements. I think this is her on the witness stand being questioned by the prosecutor in the penalty phase. So it's again on the witness stand for phase 2, right? I don't know. Unless this is how the victim impact statements will work, I'm not sure.
Quick break, I'm sorry. It'll
no.
be hopefully not more than 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then we'll bring right back in.
No,
Thank you.
Judge.
You drive to the jury?
Oh no.
So this time I'll play for the jury the videos that we introduced. So you were saying before the break that Dominic was able to say a few words, including hi.
You're going to start with the number first, just
Okay, so
make
the
sure.
first number, 552 would be the
Thank you.
first one.
Hi. Hi.
No, he's so cute. Oh my word.
Five, 553. Whose laugh do we hear in the back?
My sisters.
Five 48 next.
Two, three. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, dear Dominic. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
What occasion was that?
That was Dominic's first birthday.
He birthday ever had, you guys?
What day is his birthday?
July 26th. 2016. Mhm. So he'd have, it was his birthday, so he'd
Hey. Come here, puppy. Dominic. Daddy, come on. Dominic, come on, Dick. Good job. Bye.
Whose voice is that?
Oh, my word.
my sisters.
And you were saying earlier about the birthday?
So my sister had told him his birthday was coming up, so he'd like everybody to sing for him days before his birthday and days after his birthday. So I think we celebrated his birthday for like a week. That was my sister singing happy birthday to him in my mother's bed.
I heard Grizelda, was that Grizelda's voice in that last video?
Yes, on all those videos, that's her voice.
Okay. Would she, one of her terms of endearment, she would call him daddy?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
What else would she call him?
Daddy, Papito, Dom, Cositas, Chunky Monkey. Yes. This video, the last one, he was just learning how to walk. That is at my house, right there.
What about the one on the slide at the park?
That's at the Father McNaboe Park.
At Father McNaboe Park?
That's correct.
He's wearing the same shoes he was wearing the day he was killed?
That's correct.
And he was active running around, is that before March the 25th?
Yes, that's correct. Everything changed after March 25th. He stopped walking.
But let's talk about March the 25th. Do you remember your sister asking you about going that day, March 25th?
Yes. Yes.
You lent her your car?
Yes, that's correct. Mm.
We all know what happened on that day now through the trial. He was injured on his leg, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You're a registered nurse, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any feelings about not being able to catch that injury? Do you have any feelings about not being able to detect that injury?
That is a pain of my own that I will have to live with the rest of my life.
She must never blame herself.
I would have never imagined that what I saw that day might have been anything other than what I suspected at the time. Like I've stated before, I originally thought it was a shot site, an injection site that he had received at the doctor's office. But nobody in their reasonable mind would have thought that something so heinous would have happened to him. I feel I came to my reasoning using my observation skills and judgment, and this could have this maybe could have stopped if I would have stated I suspected otherwise, but without everything that has been presented here, there's no reason that I would have suspected otherwise, and I would have felt otherwise.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let
Shame.
me take you to April the 9th of 2018. Okay? 15 days after March the 25th. Okay? Do you remember your sister trying to or asking you for your car prior to April the 9th?
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, she asked for it to borrow it Saturday. I might be incorrect, but if I could refer to my texts or phone calls, I could confirm that.
If I may approach you with this.
Approach this way, please, first.
That's right, Andrea. Okay, we continue.
Your sister was killed on a Monday, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you had made arrangements to pick her up that Monday morning, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Had she tried to borrow your car for Sunday as well?
Yes. I don't believe we could coordinate on time, or something had come up.
So she reached out to you on Saturday, do you recall?
Yes.
Looking at this line here,
Okay, back to text messages.
13815. It says 3:28. The UTC time will make it 10:28 p.m. on the 7th.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's on the 7th, on Saturday, she was asking you to borrow the car for Sunday at 11 a.m.
That's correct.
Were you able to arrange that?
No, I don't believe so. If I'm not mistaken, we had a phone call after this text, because I don't see any reply for me there on the bottom.
So on Sunday, who was she supposed to go meet Sunday morning?
Dominic's father.
Can you read that?
Supposed to be Sunday, okay.
Yes. Hey, I was also going to ask if I can borrow your car so I can take Dominic tomorrow with his dad. Couldn't ask on the phone because Jaden is right here. Let me know. LMK, meaning let me know. It'll be early, he said. He works at 11, I think.
So your sister was going to see Anthony on Sunday,
That's correct.
and that didn't happen.
No, I like I said, I don't think we could coordinate on time. I don't believe I was home, or I was going to use the car. I don't recall.
Okay. Now going to April the 9th, the day that your sister was murdered. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Now, we already heard the testimony of how you spoke with Officer Gilbert Benavides, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And I want to ask you what you did, if anything, when you found out your sister was the victim.
When I was told that she was dead,
Yes.
I was in my living room. I was surrounded by by family. My parents were there, my brothers, my sisters, my husband.
Did you make it to Father McNaboe Park?
I tried going before I found out to the McNaboe Park. When the officers got there at my house, nobody was telling me anything. I knew something was wrong. So that's when I took my husband's truck and I left to go look for my sister at the park. I went where she told me she was going. I went to the Father McNaboe Park. I saw my car parked. I pulled up next to it. There was an officer there next to my car, and there was nothing. As far as my eye could see, everywhere around me, I couldn't see anything but some people jogging to the right. I kept looking. To see if I would see something, anything. Nothing was there. You couldn't see anybody but the officer next to my car. He told me what I was doing there. I told him I was looking for my sister. He told me I couldn't leave. I wanted to leave after I didn't see anything to look further to the left, which is where the bike trail is at and the soccer field. But after that, he wouldn't let me go. He didn't let me leave in my truck. He just had me stay there. It was until 10 minutes later till my husband and my brother showed up, and then that's when he let me go.
What was your intent?
I was looking for my sister. I wanted to see her. I wanted to find her.
Did they let you see her as she was as the way she was found?
No, I did not see her.
And did you, as a sister and as a medical professional, did you want to see her?
Yes, I wanted to find my sister. I wanted to know where she was.
Do you want to see the way your sister was found?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to publish the exhibits that have
Why?
already been admitted. They're graphic photos.
Okay, be careful
to
now, everyone.
Angelica Hernandez, who's requested to see her sister, how she was found.
This court better be careful. You better not be streaming this. Oh man, this is terrible.
No, I wasn't. I returned to my house, and that is when I was told. After I got home, that's when I was told that my sister had been murdered.
How did you feel?
That is the biggest pain I've ever felt in my entire life. I felt I couldn't breathe. I felt it was just an intense pain. I felt angry. I didn't believe it. I needed to see my sister. I didn't believe it was true. I remember falling to my knees at the house when they told me, and immediately, to me, it felt like immediately after I got up and I started trying to shake it off, and I was telling the officer, you need to take me to where my sister is. I need to get my nephew. I need to go get Dominic. Dominic is going to be scared without my sister. I remember telling him he doesn't know his father. He doesn't interact with him. He's going to feel strange if somebody else is holding him. At this time, I'm already making sense who hurt my sister. And I'm telling I need to go get Dominic. I felt so extremely betrayed because I was never told that Dominic was hurt. I still had hope in my heart that Dominic was okay. And then my mom hugs me and tells me, he's gone. Dominic is gone. And the officers tell me that Dominic has also been murdered. That just broke me. That was...
Did Grizelda have any other children?
My oldest nephew,
And what's his name?
Jaden.
How old was Jaden at the time?
Jaden was 6. He's 12 now.
How did Jaden find out about his mother?
At the time, we didn't tell him that day. We just couldn't tell him that day. He found out days later. My family is still torn to pieces. My dad and my mom, they couldn't come to bear the idea of telling him. So it had to be me.
How did you tell him?
I asked him to come downstairs, and I told him I needed to talk to him. And I was told that I couldn't say that Mommy went to heaven or Dominic went to heaven. I couldn't tell him that they were in some type of eternal sleep. I needed to use the word dead. And so I told him that his mom and Dominic were no longer with us and that they had passed away.
Where is Jaden today? Who does he stay with?
He lives with my mom. My mom has primary custody.
And he's 12 years old today.
That's correct.
Since the murders, do you all have the occasion to visit the site?
Yes, we do. My father visits the site where Dominic lay and my sister laid when they took their last breaths. He goes there every Sunday.
Did you all do anything there to come up to memorialize their lives?
Yes, we have since then surrounded that hollow ground by placing either flowers for my sister or Dominic's site. The community, the neighbors, everybody usually takes toys to his site, or we'll see balloons in occasions, or pinwheels, toys, trucks, balls, all sorts of little trinkets.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been already offered and introduced to State's Exhibit 546. If you can tell us where this is located.
Okay, that's not at the site.
But is this at
Where?
the park?
Yes, this is at the Father McNaboe Park, near where my sister had parked that day.
Give me
And
a
this
second. Okay, formally offer them again, because
Oh,
Yes, they're-
they're admitted.
They were.
Thank you.
Oh, they're objecting.
Who
Same
is this
here.
man right here?
Excuse me? Same objection.
That is my
One
father.
second, Ms. Hernandez. I'm sorry. Yes, the objections are overruled. Your arguments from the earlier conversation will be incorporated into their objection. Thank you.
Who is this gentleman right here?
That's my father, Grizelda's father. And behind it, you'll see a tree. We have a memory tree that we go to that side to
And this
feel
is-
them closer.
Okay, and this is there at Father McNaboe Park?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 547. What are we looking at here? Take your time, Ms. Hernandez.
This is where my sister was found. So where the tree's at, directly forward, you'll see a road right here. And it's paved now. Before it was just a dirt road. And that's where my sister's body was found.
I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 545. What is this?
So this is where Dominic was found. Right between those trees. So it's open now, but
Oh my word.
at one time it was just the way you see the background. It was all the way to the front like that.
Well, I'll conclude with just asking you this question. You know now that the jury has found Mr. Burgos, Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles, guilty of murdering your sister and your nephew. How do you feel today?
I trust in our justice system, and I know you might not empathize completely or feel our direct pain. I feel once your life has been touched by such a black, sinister, heinous act, your core beliefs are changed somehow. Maybe even your faith is questioned. At least that's what I have gone through and continue to go through. But I trust in the justice system, and I know justice will be served for my sister and for Dominic. And my life will forever be incomplete. That hole in my heart will always be there. But knowing that I have done my very best to try to bring them justice, will have to serve as peace in this lifetime for me, because that is all I can do.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Ms. Hernandez, again, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to ask you any questions this time. Nothing further.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Hernandez, you may step down and go back to business. Thank you very much.
Should she be excused from the role, Your Honor?
Yes, she has been excused. She continues to be excused from the room. You may remain in the courtroom if you'd like.
This guy. Oh. I mean, Thea has been
They
really
called Mary
nice
Hernandez.
Mary Hernandez.
to
May we
Angelica
briefly approach before?
Approach.
on both occasions, right? She's always spoken very nicely. Thea, I'm talking about the the bun lady that you guys always say bun lady, right? She does convey empathy to Angelica, and I'm so glad she didn't ask her any questions now. Maybe that's why she's sitting there today, because she's sitting closer to the mic. Oh man, that was very tough. And Angelica is so strong. To think, you guys, that Grizelda's dad has been there every Sunday for 5 years means he's been there 260 times.
Hello, ma'am. I know that you've already been sworn in, yes? Yes. Thank you.
I think
Please
this
have a
is
seat right over here.
is this Mary? I think Angelica's mom, Grizelda's mom. Oh, guys. Sorry, wait, I'll put this on again. Oh, no shame. You can do it, Mama Bear.
Yes.
Good morning, Ms. Hernandez.
Good morning.
And for the record, I'd like to, for you to state your full name.
Mary Hernandez.
And if you need to take a moment, we'll take a moment, and take it slow. Try to speak as clearly as possible. And I'd like to ask, how are you related to Grizelda and Dominic?
Grizelda is my daughter. Dominic is my grandson.
And how many children do you have?
4.
Does that include Grizelda?
Yes.
And how many grandchildren do you have?
9.
Does that include Dominic?
Yes.
And you still include them when you say that they are part of your grandkids or your children?
Yes. They'll always be with me.
Now I'm going to show you what has been May I approach, Your Honor?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 554 and ask you if you recognize this photograph.
Yes.
Tendering to the defense, States 554, and offering it to evidence.
We have no objection to evidence.
554?
Yes, Your Honor, but there's a problem with the number, I believe.
Pumpkin Porter says, yes, go Mama Bear, the Grizzlies are with you.
Cindy, we're good? We're good with the number.
Okay, so then 554.
Admitted?
Now, will you, is this your, what is this a picture of?
This was
States 554.
Mother's Day. These are all my grandchildren.
for Mother's Day in 2018?
No, I believe it's 2017.
2017, okay. And these were your grandchildren?
Yes,
And who's this?
that's Roger,
Younger than?
and that's Dominic, Brianna, Rocky, Becca, Jaden, Gali, Tristan, and JJ.
So this is,
That's Jaden.
and he is
Dominic's
older
brother,
son.
yes.
Now, can you tell us about Grizelda, the type of daughter she was?
Oh, Grizelda was my baby daughter. I was always overprotective over her, also of Angie, but more of Grizelda.
And what type of relationship did you and Grizelda have as compared to the relationship you have with Angie?
Grizelda was there when I went through my divorce. She was the strong person. Before me. She was a very strong person. She had character, but she would nonetheless would never let nothing bring her down.
Okay. And when you say character, are you like when you say it in Spanish, carácter?
Oh yeah.
And so, what specifically do you mean by that?
Whenever she wanted something, she would get it somehow, but she was gonna get it.
Okay. And did she live with you?
Yes.
Did Jaden and Dominic also
Yes.
live with you? Now, did you and Grizelda have, were you all friends on social media?
We were.
Okay.
We were at one time, but come one day she wouldn't answer her phone. I kept texting her. She never answered, so I went into her Facebook and I put a telephone ringing. She got so mad she blocked me. She blocked me. Now, as of today still, she needs to see everything that she's gonna post there to be approved by her. But that's where she blocked me.
Okay. And do you remember when Grizelda told you about being pregnant with Dominic? Will you share that story?
Yes. We were sitting at the table at my house, and she comes and gives me a blue cupcake and puts it right in front of me. And I had all my grandkids there, and I tell Grizelda, "Mom, why did you bring me just one cupcake? All of my grandkids are here." So I just got it, and I looked at it, and I told her I'll eat it later, and I put it to the other side. But the strange thing that none of my kids asked me for a cupcake. So when nobody was there, I went to reach for the cupcake, and I took it off its container, and it said, "It's a boy." That's how I found out that she was pregnant.
And did she tell you who the father was?
Not there. When we were eating, my two sons and my daughter, we were sitting at the table. And I asked her who the father was. And she gets her phone and she opens it. She goes like this. And she closes. And she says, "That's it. That's all you want to know about him. I never saw his picture, because she passed it very quick. I don't know.
So you didn't, if you would have seen the father, did you have a name at this point?
I believe she told us that his name was Anthony.
So if you would have seen Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles back in this is when she was pregnant, 2017, would you have recognized who he was?
No.
What about in 2018? Did you ever know what his face looked or what he looked like?
No.
Okay. And you were in the courtroom when there was some testimony regarding a text message where Grizelda was told that Ronald Anthony Burgos went to your work and that you saw him. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did you ever see Ronald Anthony Burgos at your work?
I was surprised when I heard it here that he had gone to my work. I don't recall seeing him. I see hundreds of people, thousands of people. I had never seen.
And did you help Grizelda with Dominic and Jaden?
Yes.
What kind of help did you give her?
Since the beginning, she told us that Anthony was not going to come into the picture, that if we were going to be able to help her. So me, my daughter, and my sons, we helped Gray. We helped her with the Pampers, the diapers, the clothing, the shoes. I'd sometimes give her for the daycare.
Okay.
Clothing for her, clothing for Jaden. I would support her.
And what kind of, how would you, how would you refer to Dominic?
Cositas.
You did?
I would call him Cositas.
What about Grizelda? How
Gray.
would you refer to Dominic?
Gray would call him Cositas also, Daddy. Chunky Monkey. My handsome.
And when you say Gray, you're referring to Grizelda?
Grizelda.
And did you ever go to the daycare where Dominic went?
Yes.
Attended?
Yes, I did.
And so you're aware of how she planned to pay for the daycare?
Yes, as she started getting financial aid, she would go with her payments from there.
Do you recall when Dominic had an injury on his leg?
Yes.
Okay. And the effect it had on his attendance at daycare?
Oh, yes.
What effect did it have?
He was walking at that time when he was in daycare. March 25th, when he had that injury, he could no longer walk. He would drag himself. Until they told him at daycare that they couldn't be carrying him. He had to be carried to take him from one place to the other.
Now I'm going to show you, Jan, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 541 and 543 and ask you if you recognize this photograph
Yes.
and then this USB.
Thank you. There it is.
Now, on the day of the injury on Dominic's leg, did you join or did you go to the hospital with Gray and Angelica?
Yes.
And so you were in attendance when the doctors, or they were going to tend to Dominic and the leg.
Yes, I believe I left work because I was so worried about Dominic. And when I get there, something bit him. And I reached to Gray to get to Dominic. And Dominic gives me his hands to pick him up. And he says, "Owie, mama." And he points to his leg. And I carry Dominic. And I tell her, he better not have hurt Dominic.
When you say he, were you aware that Gray or Grizelda had met with Ronald Anthony Burgos earlier that day?
Yes, she told us the day before that she was going to go meet him, that he wanted to meet Dominic. At that time, I was mad. Dominic was already 18 months. How would he want to come into his life after he didn't see him crawl, take his first bottle, take his first steps, go to daycare?
And had you shared this with your concerns with Gray or Grizelda?
Yes.
I'd like to publish, Your Honor, State's Exhibit 555. And this is a video of what does it show in this video?
It's not up here, hold on.
Oh,
It's on mine, but for some reason it's not on yours. All right. Go ahead, publish.
He was crawling, he could no longer stand. And as you can hear him, he would have to tilt to the other side because his leg would hurt.
which leg was it that was hurting him, that had the injury?
I believe it was his left leg.
Where was this?
This was at my house, Gray's room. We tried to make him more comfortable.
Now, before this injury, and did he enjoy going to the daycare?
Yes.
Would you sometimes take him?
Gray would be mostly the one who'd drop him off, but there was times where I would walk him in, and he would run to his classroom. He had this, like a little puppet, but it was a Tweety. And every time that he would walk in, he would get that little Muppet Tweety and put it where his name was to let them know that he was present.
And you mentioned that that was his favorite one.
That was his
that
favorite
you
Tweety.
witnessed.
Yes.
And the little, he was a little Tweety bird, Muppet,
Yeah.
or puppet. And there's also you have a pet or a bird named Paquita.
Yeah, she's my Amazon gray parrot.
Okay. And you also mentioned a story about Paquita and how she would, that she speaks, correct?
Yes.
And how, explain to the jury, I guess what Paquita did one time that made you all think that there was other people in the kitchen.
Paquita mimics all the words that you say. She would, Angie and Grizelda would be talking in the kitchen very, very quietly, but Paquita hears everything. So as soon as I would come into the kitchen, Paquita would start doing it. And I knew that they were up to something because she already let them know that something was good. She'll start mimicking everything. And one day, Dominic, I told him, don't put your finger in the cage, she's gonna bite you. He kept doing it until Paquita bit him. He got so mad because we laughed. And he went up to the cage and he shook Paquita out of her tree limb. He was so mad at her.
And is there a significance whenever you see any feathers?
Oh yes. Whenever I see feathers, red cardinals, that means our angels are close to us. One day Jaden was in the restroom. In my restroom, you have to go all the way to the kitchen, past the hall room, down to my master bedroom. Then you go into my restroom. Jaden was there and he says, Grandma. And he picks up his feet and he says, look, I think Mom's here. There was a feather in his toe. I believe all those. Even when a cardinal comes, I know my angels are with me.
Now, before, I want you to share some of the good memories and fun memories that you had of both Grizelda and Dominic before the injury. And I'm going to show you, and also I want to ask, do you remember what Jaden was like with Dominic?
Yes.
Describe that for the jury, please.
When Gray told us that she was pregnant, Jaden was so happy because he always wanted a baby brother. He would always pick up Grizelda's blouse and kiss her tummy. Anytime that Grizelda was cooking, he would always come through the back and hug her. He would ask her, is it almost done? Is he almost cooked, Mom? That meant to him if he was ready to be born.
May I approach, Your Honor? I'm going to show you, I hope the numbers are right, state 542, which is a USB.
We might hear from Jaden later today.
It's asked you to recognize
Yes.
this one. And you also have your initials.
Yes.
And states exhibit 544.
Yes.
I believe intending to the defense for inspection and offering into evidence.
With the caveat of objections to the report.
With the same as before. All right. And I'll
They always object.
incorporate that into your,
Always overrules.
overall, there have been
And specifically, just for the record, it was for 542.1, the objection, and 544.
there you go.
Thank you. I'd like to begin with State's Exhibit 544. So Jaden was 5 when Dominic was born?
6.
How are you putting it on? I don't know. I don't know. Travel.
And this was that Grizelda, Gray's voice?
Yes, that's Grace's voice. That's Jaden and Dominic. He would always try to help his mom with Dominic.
And changing the diaper was...
Changing the diaper, getting his bottles, getting his snacks.
And some of the, on State's Exhibit, State's Exhibit 542. And Dominic was a child who was...
Me. Who did the... Me. Who did the mess? Me. You did the mess? It was you? Me. Me.
Oh man, you're so cute.
Me. Who did the mess? Me. You did the mess? It was you? Me. Me.
Who did the mess? He's like, me.
Now, she did Grizelda earlier. She was a woman of character, and she also liked to joke around. And
Yes, she liked to joke around a lot. Sometimes she would get on my nerves, but that's her way of teasing me. And now I wish she would still do that.
now, on this next video, this was before Dominic's injury. Where was this? Do you know?
I believe it was a party, maybe, where she was invited at that trampoline. I believe altitude.
And this was him, true to form,
Yes.
running around?
Yes. He loved it.
Oh, shame.
Now, because they lived with you, all three of them, Gray, Dominic, and Jaden, things changed after April the 9th. I want to direct your attention to April the 9th. And I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 87.3, and these are excerpts from the Facebook. Do you recognize this? It starts back.
Thank you all for being here so we can watch them together.
Yes.
Tangerine State's Exhibit 87.3 and offer it to that. It states Exhibit 87.3.
Be admitted without objection.
Do you guys think this is hitting Burgos hard right now? I wonder. I mean, it looks like it could be, but I don't know how much capacity he has.
Just by way of reference,
Feeling,
I
huh?
just want to confirm. Today we introduced to us Mary Hernandez.
Yes.
This is Mary Garza.
It's my maiden name.
So these are authored by you.
Yes.
Now I just want, can you just look at the date and time of this time frame of these messenger messages? This was what date?
April the 8th,
2018.
2018.
And it's saying that there was an image. Now I'm gonna show this image to the jury. Did you send that message?
Yes.
Oh, this picture? That's you?
Yes, that's my last picture with Dominic.
And let's go through the discussion that you had with Gray. Now, this was Grizelda,
Mm-hmm.
and what did she say?
She says, cositas de mami, LOL, which means laugh out loud.
And then,
She's asking me there, how is he, Mom?
and then you responded.
He barely woke up.
You also responded.
And I responded, he's fine, not necio. And not necio mean like he's not grouchy? Oh, okay.
This one is it's partly up here, but so I'm gonna, who authored that one up there?
Grizelda,
Okay, so Griselda says,
you let me know how he is in a little while, Mom.
okay.
And then she says, si no me lo traigo.
And then you responded?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Say it, repeat that.
Si no me lo traigo.
Interpreter.
If not, I will bring it.
Thank you.
And then I say, he'll be fine. Then Griselda answers, ándale, yo voy por él, ma, LOL.
Okay, Mom, I'll go for him. Laugh out loud.
and then what did you respond?
I send a picture to Gray. That little monita that says no.
Oh, you sent this saying no.
Yes.
This one. Okay. And then?
And then I say, it's grandma time. She says, LOL, ay ma, ha ha ha. Great.
Now this is a different day.
Yes.
Okay? Now, this says UTC time 14:54.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What did you tell Griselda on? What's the date?
On April the 9th, 2018.
Do we have the UTC? I know it's 9:14, but I need the UTC. And so, for the record, Your Honor, under UTC conversion, it would be 9:14. There's an exception.
Proceed.
And so, at 9:14, on April the 9th, what did you tell Griselda?
I asked Gray, take a picture of Dominic leg as it is right now.
Wow, at
Do you
9:14
know where he
on the
was at
day.
this time?
Excuse me?
Do you know where they were at this time?
Yes.
On April the 9th?
Yes.
Where?
They were at the Father McNaboe Park.
Oh no.
And then,
She didn't reply, so I sent her another one. How's Dominic?
and the time says, UTC time?
15:25.
And the next one,
It says, great. I asked her, great, everything okay?
The same day?
On April the 9th, 2018, at 17:46.
And if you subtract 5 to that,
That would be 10?
5 from 1746?
1246.
And if you subtract 5 from 1525?
1025.
So these are the times that these were sent.
Mhm.
And this was on April the 9th.
April the 9th, 2018.
Now, before receiving the call from the Laredo Police Department, where were you?
I was at my work.
Where's your work located?
It's on Shiloh Drive.
And you had already been sending messages to her, and she was not responding. Tell me what happened that caused in that morning.
On the first message, Gray didn't answer. So I kept calling her from my work phone. I called her about 10 times. She never answered. I called my daughter, Angie, to please call Gray because she wasn't answering my phone and this was not Gray. Even if she were to be busy, she would always answer my call.
And did you remain on there until, who contacted you so that you could go to your house or to Angelica's house?
Nobody. I just had that motherly instinct because I was facing Shiloh. Suddenly I see cops passing through. I see ambulances. And there was no other way they were going anywhere but Mines Road. As a mother, I had that mother instinct that something could have happened to Gray. First, she wasn't answering my calls. And I just had to leave work. I just left work. And I started to proceed to Father McNaboe Park when Angie calls me to meet her at her house.
And had she told you what, why to meet her at her house, or you
No.
just didn't know? Okay. And in your home, it's who does Jaden live with now?
He lives with me and Ricky.
Do you remember, or can you describe for the jury the relationship that Jaden had with his mom, Grizelda?
That was Jaden's mom. First of all, it was his mom. He loved her so much. And he misses his brother too.
And at the time of Gray's and Dominic's death, what were Jaden's sleeping arrangements?
Gray's room is right across my room. So he would sleep with his mom. But sometimes Jaden would go to sleep with me to watch TV later. And he would fall asleep with me in my room.
After the passing of his mom and his brother, how did it affect Jaden?
It was very hard for him to go back into his mom's room. So at 6 years, he's sleeping with me. He's afraid of the dark. He's afraid to be alone. So I had to sleep him with me.
And what about on occasions that I believe you travel for medical purposes out of town?
Yes.
And how have you modified your arrangements or travel arrangements because of this?
Because of this, Jaden has felt very insecure. He wants to know exactly where I'm at. What time did I leave? What time did I come back? Why I didn't answer my phone when I travel out of town from doctor's visits. I need to be back that same day, or he's coming with me.
And the month of April, how do you, on April the 9th, after you found out that they passed, how did that impact you?
My whole world came apart. I couldn't believe it, especially Dominic. It's been very, very, very hard. It has totally changed our lives.
Do you and Jaden ever go into her room?
Yes. Jaden asks, Grandma, can we go into Mom's room? That room is locked. Everything is still the same the way she left it. But sometimes Jaden wants to go into her mom's room. So I go with him. He just wants to be there for a little while. He goes to his mom's bed. And he goes like this on her bed, just looking at the ceiling. I don't know what crosses his mind. But it has impacted him so much.
Has he found a way to cope with that?
Yes, a little bit. He's tried going into karate classes, but no. Now he's in band right now, and he'll be going into football.
Now I'd like to ask you to share the story that you like to recall. It brings you peace when you recall the peekaboo game that you played with Dominic.
That was just one of the games that, as you sit in my kitchen, there's this door in the hallway next to his room. He would open the closet door and he would go, "Peekaboo, Mama." Now I sit there and I look towards that wall, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there, just memories. Memories are all that I have.
Pass the
Any questions?
Mrs. Hernandez, I'm so sorry for your loss. I have no questions for you.
Thank you.
Thank goodness. Thank you, Susan.
You may remain in your courtroom for the rest of the proceedings. Thank you.
So this is for phase 2, you guys. Death penalty trial. So the family is on the stand so that the jury can hear from them and not feel guilt or regret if they do recommend the death penalty, for example. All right. This is a tough day, you guys. Shame. Poor Jaden. Jaden is Grizelda's other son, and he is 12 years old now, and we might also hear from him. And maybe today, I don't know. I'm saying that because Grizelda's sister, Angelica, was on the stand, and now Grizelda's mom was on the stand. So I'm wondering if maybe later, after lunch, Jaden would be on the stand, or if they would say, let's push lunch till later so that now he could be on the stand, not make them wait any longer. I don't know. We'll see what happens now from the sidebar. That's going to be tough. But Jaden, it's got a lot of separation anxiety, a lot of trauma, PTSD, concern. He's afraid of the dark. This is like Burgos ruined so many lives. Took the lives of Grizelda and Dominic and ruined so many more lives. Like, what is he writing now? What are you writing, dude? I wonder if he'll make any statements at any point, you know? Yes, the impact statements come later. These are witnesses in phase 2. So phase 1 of the trial was all about the verdict, and there was a unanimous guilty verdict. Phase 2 is the penalty phase, and the judge said this could even take longer than phase 1. So expect many days of testimony from witnesses. We're probably going to hear from Detective Raimundo Garcia again, and he might even talk about the Google searches, because they did mention Google at some point. So I'm thinking maybe he'll be back for that. Detective Raimundo Garcia was the one with the incredible compilation, the presentation of the maps and the surveillance and just everything put together in a very nice way for the jury to understand. Sierra Smith says, we need our emotional support. Kitty Fury prays for the sweet and strong family. Yeah, he's now, it's very hot here still today. He's lying on the floor right next to me. So he's right here with us, you guys. So thank you so much. Yeah, Burgos has no emotion whatsoever. Oh, man. And seeing those videos.
Right now it's 1:15. Wow. I'm sorry, 12:15. Let's see if we can get back by, let's get back by 1:30, and then let's see how as soon as everybody's together, we can get started right after that. Okay? Thank you.
Oh, dear.
Remember that you're still under the same instructions that I gave you.
You drive that jury?
Okay. So let's just get that all set up for the next one. They said, right now in Texas, it's 12:15. The judge said, let's try get back by 1:30, and then when everyone's back, we get started, which we know means they'll get started around, 2? Right? So if right now it's 12:15, it's 7:15 for me. So they should be back at 8:30 for me. I just need to set that up for you guys so that this stream will lead to that one for the afternoon session. Buckle up, brace yourself. If we hear from Jaden, it's going to be so sad as well. Amy in Boston says he might actually be feeling this one. Right? His family's so strong. Okay,
So
let's hear what
yes,
the judge says.
I guess what you're telling me ahead of time, Judge, these are the witnesses that we intend to call, just so that I could sort of, I appreciate that. That way I can sort of think of our schedule for the rest of the day and tomorrow. And you were mentioning
We have one more family member.
Detective Garcia.
Yes, and we have Josh Nunez, her first cousin, who identified the body.
Okay.
He's as a family member. We have Jose Luis Macias, mental health specialist.
Yeah, you talked about that, yes, sir.
We have Raimundo Garcia, lead detective.
Yes.
What I stated in my opening statements, that we will be bringing him to talk about some other aspects of the investigation on April.
That were not brought in during the first phase.
Correct. We didn't bring him in the first phase. We're
Okay.
bringing him in now. And then, based on Defendant's Exhibit 7 that was admitted,
Which are the defendant's medical records.
his medical records.
I think it was in particular, your emphasis is on Dr.
Oscar Bettis.
Bettis' records.
Yeah, so he published to the jury the prescriptions of Fetterman and phentermine and
Testosterone.
testosterone, that he was taking a combination of those medications. And so.
Well, actually, it was just published without any word.
No, what he published were certain of the he.
Right. What I'm saying is when they were published without any sponsor. So it was just publishing, and then it wasn't until his opening at after the guilt innocent phase that he mentioned that something to the effect about your. Assuming that, not assuming, but since opening is what the evidence will show, that in fact, that something to the effect about the defendant being poisoned by his own doctor or something like that. So as a result of that is what you want, I'm sorry, you want to do what?
Okay, so making the connection between Defendant's Exhibit 7 and him being Mr. Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles being prescribed the phentermine and testosterone, and then Mr. Boggs making the opening argument that Defendant's Exhibit 7 will, or that.
I don't think he said Defense Exhibit 7 will show that. I think he just said.
He said,
right.
Put a slide that said that he was poisoned by these combination of these two medicines that he was prescribed. He was
Right.
poisoned by his doctor.
Right.
So with that said, we believe that opens the door now to bring in a Dr. Dagoberto Gonzalez, who I contacted
This could be another hour, you guys.
on Friday after Mr. Boggs' argument to rebut that claim that testosterone and phentermine will poison or result in psychosis. His claim in opening was that combination would cause psychosis. Dr. Gonzalez is a close to 25-year physician, OBGYN, and also does hormone therapy and replacement in Laredo. Is also a speaker
Sounds like they're objecting to
the
this, right?
topic, and also is a mentor to physicians in Texas in the administration and prescription of phentermine and testosterone. And he will come and I anticipate be able to speak as to his practices. And
So he routinely prescribes this?
He prescribes it to men and women since 2013. And is
Okay.
also
So let's hear from you, Mr. Boggs, on that issue. My initial impression, like I said earlier, Mr. Alanis, is that we should wait for that evidence to actually come in. Right now, we do have the records, but there has been nobody that has testified that combination of drugs does anything to anybody.
my
So, and he can't actually argue that. If everything stayed the way it is right now, Mr. Boggs would not be allowed to argue that at the time of argument because there is no reasonable inference that could be made from merely having his records admitted. So unless somebody else came and made that connection would that argument be able to mimic? That's where I'm at right now, but let me hear from Mr. Boggs on that issue.
Well, if I could say one more thing, that I respectfully would say that the inference that he made, and by introducing this document, I would be able to ask Dr. Dagoberto Gonzalez his professional opinion as to the records that he has now reviewed, that if in his opinion they, if the doses, if protocols, if the medications themselves interpret the medications in making giving his opinion as to the
Mr.
treatment
Boggs
that Burgos was
standing
receiving.
up already.
Not so much attacking Mr. Boggs' claim, but being able to interpret the documents that we have here. And I believe that the door's been open to have Dr. Gonzalez come, in his opinion, interpret these medications, the milligrams that were prescribed.
To say what, though? To be able to say what?
that in reviewing the notes, the physician notes the amounts of the 37 milligrams that he was being prescribed, 37.5, the testosterone, taking testosterone by itself, taking testosterone with phentermine together, what are the practices, the accepted practices in the medical profession. He will testify that he prescribes those medications.
So, but to what end is what I'm actually
Well,
getting?
to the end that they're perfectly normal, and that psychosis doesn't result.
But to rebut what?
Well, not to rebut, but to interpret. For now, is
In other words, why would it be relevant evidence and punishment on your part of the case?
it would be relevant.
In other words, would it go to, the issue number 1? Would it go?
Well, it would go specifically to special issue question number 2. That the jury's not left with a false impression, which is what we contend it is, that he was suffering from some mental disease.
But no one has actually said that yet.
No, but the inference can be made without somebody interpreting, well, what happens when you take testosterone with phentermine? What happens when you take testosterone? What happens if you take phentermine by itself?
Do you believe that that's a question that's going to be left in the jury's mind, despite the fact that, assuming for a moment that no one testifies?
Yes, it is.
Let me finish my thought, though.
I'm
All right. Without
Let me finish my thought,
anybody coming in to testify that, in fact, as Mr. Boggs promised, that they would hear from somebody saying, maybe not promised, but that he would hear from somebody, that they would hear from somebody to say that, in fact, that combination of medication would play some sort of role in somebody's mind or whatnot. In other words, if no one testified to that effect, then what would your doctors? In other words, how would Mr. Boggs be able to argue anything at the time of argument, because there is no evidence other than state defendant number 7, if it is number 7, I think.
Yeah, this is
In other words, Mr. Boggs wouldn't be able to make that inference at all without somebody saying whatever with regard to that.
correct, but I do believe that bell has
It's like
been
jumping
rung.
the gun a bit.
You say
And
because he
also,
opened it.
He opened it.
I'm sorry, because he opened on it is what I'm saying.
He opened on it. He was riding on the coattails of Defendant's Exhibit 7,
Oh,
leading the
okay.
jury down that path.
All right.
We are also able.
But why not wait till it comes in then?
Under factors to consider for capital murder
Mhm.
cases, mental state is a factor that the jury can consider. I believe that the state has the right at this point, because it was not an issue, but now that the fact has come out that Mr. Burgos-Aviles had
But
been
there is no fact that came out. What is
Well,
it?
the facts come out here that he's been prescribed medication.
Yeah, we did see
Right.
that. We did see that.
Testosterone, phentermine, and
But that alone means what?
well, that alone can mean that, well, he was on drugs. He was taking some sort of, some medication, and it wouldn't have been an issue
Mm-hmm.
until he gets up in opening and says, and puts a slide, says that my client was poisoned and had psychosis. It wouldn't have been an issue,
Mm-hmm.
but now it is an issue.
Mr. Boggs,
Judge, I think Your Honor nailed it on the head, which is that just because I opened on it doesn't mean that I could argue that in closing to the jury. In fact, without presenting some evidence to interpret Defense Exhibit number 7, I would be precluded from arguing that to the jury.
You would be precluded,
So-
but and the DA would be able to say, Mr. Boggs told you that he was going to bring somebody here to tell you that he was poisoned, that this and this was that effect, and he did not. He wasn't. No one came in to tell you anything. He'd be able to argue that, would he not?
He would, yes, sir. I believe it's premature.
Well, I'd be able to argue that he lied to the jury.
Oh, very
That's fine.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until that comes in, and then we'll take it from there. So
Okay.
have Dr. Gonzalez on standby in case. By the way, Mr. Boggs, your expert on that issue, I looked at your expert list, and there was somebody there on your list that could potentially meet that criteria, and I'm not sure exactly who that one was, but I thought I saw somebody on your list with some. Tell me who that is, if in fact he comes in.
Judge, we have a
He or she
disagreement
comes in.
over how to pronounce his name. I believe it's Dr. Gupta.
That's exactly who I thought you may.
Okay, okay.
We still not have received any CVs or reports.
Andrew, the sound is boosted.
I believe
They
we
need to be at the
filed it
mics.
With our notice, I'll make sure. I just received Dr. Gonzalez's
CV.
CV. I will make sure that they get Dr. Gupta's CV. I apologize, Your Honor. That's-
But he was on the list, was he not?
He was on the list from May, I think, or even before. He was timely filed. I think it might be April 11th.
Eduardo is so
Well,
tired, he can't
we
function.
need to have his.
He has been on
his-
the list for some time.
And
They
we-
should have had his CV.
And we also don't have the CV for Dr. Cunningham.
All right, can y'all get together on
Dr.
that?
Cunningham?
We'll get that.
Judge is like,
Not sure why that hasn't happened, but make sure it gets that done.
Now, along the same lines, what is the court going to say about Jose Luis Macias? Because we would-
Observations?
Yeah, and he does those, court's familiar with his assessments, right? When he goes by and talks to the defendant and does his assessments.
Mr. Macias, I understand, well, there he is over there in the back.
okay.
And I only identify him because I've dealt with Mr. Macias before on many occasions on special issues dealing with our own, stuff that we do throughout the.
Do you think we're only coming back at 2 or half
as
past
a
2,
result
guys?
of CCQs and
And,
magistration issues and things of that nature that him and the rest of his colleagues there at the jail deal with it with the medical personnel. But in any event, what you're saying is that his observations will be with regard to what he observed on the day that the defendant came in.
Yes.
And how he looked.
Yes. And the forms that he fills out.
Oh, and the forms that he fills out, because they ask him questions when they do the forms. Under I'm not sure
Their
what
policy.
I'm not sure what Senate bill it is anymore, but a lot of things changed throughout the last, as you know, through the last 4 or 5 years with regard to when you arrest somebody and what are the things that you look at, and all those forms were put together for us, and some of them we did on our own. And so in any event, we did a mixture of things. So as a result of that, they get interviewed. Inmates get interviewed, and they get asked questions with regard to their, where they're at. Regular, I don't want to say CCQ interviews, but in any event, they're dealing with whether somebody's going through something in their minds and or in their lives that may require further attention, further examination by somebody in the mental field. And normally it's for purposes of determining whether somebody should be given a PR bond or not, right? So unfortunately, in this situation, they wouldn't have qualified for it anyways, but we still went through that, I'm assuming, through that particular, the jail is still obligated to go through that particular questioning. This is something I know because I've dealt with Mr. Macias in that area in many occasions. It still should, I don't know if they did this with Mr. Aviles or not, Burgos-Aviles, but I'm sure they did. And so there is some information in that would say how he answered particular questions with regard to his state of mind, things of that nature. So that's why I suspect that's why you want him here.
Yes, that's why he's here. He can testify as to the demeanor his effect, Mr. Burgos' effect. in
I don't
either
think that, I don't think that has to wait for anybody. What do you suspect on that?
Judge, we received notice of this, I believe, yesterday, Saturday. I apologize.
Do you have the documents that you're going to show through him?
He's had them the whole time, but yes.
Okay, can you all just specify what documents? Maybe you can chew over that over lunchtime, and then we can talk about this thing again. Who are you going to call first after lunch?
I was gonna call Raimundo.
All right.
Garcia or
Detective
Natasha.
Raimundo Garcia.
Okay.
After
Well,
lunch.
let's trade those documents. Even though you probably already have them, let's make sure they know exactly which ones they are, and y'all can take a look at what that is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Over lunch.
Okay. Well. So they said they're gonna come. The judge said, come back around 1:30 when everyone's back in. Get started. So I'm just letting you guys know that I've set the stream for 2:00 Texas time, which is Central Time. Okay. But as soon as they're on, I'll go live. But we're not gonna sit here again for half an hour, being like, let's rather just. We could be here in the chat. I'll be there in the chat with you. But as soon as they're on, we go live, okay? Because my word, this trial has been a lot of waiting around, and I just don't trust it. I don't trust they gotta be back at 1:30. Do you? Yeah, Luna said the judge is hungry. Yeah, no one messes with the judge's lunchtime. He's like, oh, okay, chew it over, everyone. Oh, man. So it sounds like they were working over the weekend, which is maybe why Eduardo Pena is so incredibly tired today. I don't mean to keep on paying attention to it. He's just like really not coping. He's having those like micro sleeps. Like he really needs to rest. I hope he can have some nap time instead of the lunchtime. Skip lunch and have a nap time, bro, because you're going to need it. Yes. Okay. So Sheila says it's not the judge. It's the attorneys ticking off the judge because they're unprepared. So today, day 9, morning session. We have heard from Angelica Hernandez, who is Grizelda's sister, Dominic's aunt, and Mary Hernandez, which is Grizelda's mother and Dominic's grandmother. And Grizelda's eldest son, Jaden, is 12 years old now, and he is living with Mary, which we also found there. Blessed Mom for Texas says 1 hour for lunch. I don't trust it. They normally need at least 90 minutes. So I'm just setting the stream for 2:00 Texas time. And if they start earlier, we start earlier. Okay. Yeah. The Ronaldo says, I can't go with you. 2 p.m. is good. Yes, 2 p.m. is good. So I've already asked for the stream to lead to the next one. But let me put a link in the chat. I know it might fly by. Let me actually pin it for you then. Okay, so just hold on. Here we go. Afternoon session here. Okay, afternoon session. Because we've got lots of people in chat. There's the afternoon session here message. Let's see if I can catch it and pin it. It's quite hard these days with everyone here. Okay, I'm pinning it. There we go. Okay, so thank you so much for being here today. We all need each other. We need to be in this together. And can you imagine what the family's going through? Oh man, I'm so grateful that you guys are here with me as we watch this trial. I used to watch trials alone, and it was a pretty lonely experience, especially in watching things like this. You just, you want to talk to your community, and I'm very, very grateful. KK, I will definitely be adding the link to the description. I always do afterwards as well. I need to clean up the whole friggin' hour of waffle time as well before day 9 of the morning session actually started. That was at about an hour later. So I'll be doing that. I'll be doing timestamps as always. I'll also be having some dinner because for me it's 7:35 p.m. now. So it's dinner time for me. And I will meet you back here as soon as they get started, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Please like and share so others know about the morning session. I do think they need to see it as well. It's important to make sure they catch up on that. And then on the afternoon session, I'm very excited to hear again from Detective Raimundo Garcia, Presentation King. It was amazing, his presentation. So I'm excited to hear if he's got anything more from text messages, Google searches, from things like that, right? Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate it. If I missed any stickers or support, I'm so sorry. I do my very best, but there's lots of people here, and the mods also thank you so much on my behalf. So thank you, mods, for everything you do. Thank you to all my patrons, members, everyone who supports the channel, and I will see you in the next one, okay? See you there. Bye.